Hey guys, I'm Dave and welcome to the channel Strength Through Weakness. So good to have you. I'm going to share this week my rock collection. It's awesome. It includes a total of 4 rocks. These 3 right here, they're from a trip that my family took to Jamaica. Well, we got to stop there while we were on a cruise, and we ascended a waterfall that was lined with these rocks. And just holding these rocks in my hand can help me remember what it was like to walk up that waterfall on rocks just like these. And it helps me remember what an amazing time we had there. This final rock, it's a little bit different. It helps me remember when I made a commitment to lead in my family and to lead in my community. And I did that because I was teaching about Joshua, and Joshua asked the people, he said, "Are you going to follow God or not?" And they all said, "Yeah, we're going to follow God." And so he knew how forgetful they were, so he encouraged them to pick up a rock as a reminder of the commitment they made. And we see in the Bible that God used rocks and things early on to remind people of what he had done. He told them to stand a rock or to build an altar, and that would then later be a reminder to them and to others that God had moved in their life and collided with their life in an awesome way. And this idea of remembrance carries on even farther. As the Israelites became a nation, God would then use traditionally 7 feasts that were all designed to be celebrated annually, and the idea was to remember some specific way that God had again acted and intersected with them as a nation. And God really finds it important that we remember what he has done. And in the New Testament, we're left with one major remembrance. And in Luke 22, Jesus says, "Hey, do this in remembrance of me." And we're not just supposed to remember that little cup of grape juice is not nearly enough to wash down the cracker, but we're supposed to remember that through Christ's death, burial, and resurrection, we were set free. We were no longer held in the bondage that we would be in unless we so choose. But we have now the power to set those chains free because of Christ acting in our life. But it's not just that specific time. It's not only that time that God wants us to remember, because God's working and acting in our lives really all the time. But there will be these moments where we just know that he was there, and we can embrace the fact that he's alive, that he's real, and that that we can testify about it, which we'll talk more about next week. But the idea here is that we have something to remember. So for me, one of those moments is that my daughter was born quite a few weeks before she was expected to be, and it was kind of a health emergency for both her and my wife. And in here I stood helpless. There's nothing I can do, but yet I felt a peace that God was there. It didn't take away the situation. It didn't make me say, "Oh, everything's going to be okay." But I knew that God was there with me, and it definitely helped. And sometimes I can't even remember or think back to how I made it through, just that God was there with me. So you may be thinking to yourself, "Wait a second, Dave, I don't have any of those moments to remember." And this is what I want to say to you. Well, there's probably one of 2 big reasons for that. And the first one is maybe you've never actually asked God to be a part of your life. You've never invited him to act in your life in an amazing way. And if that's the case, then I would encourage you to talk to your local pastor or to a good Christian friend, and they can help you to make that commitment so that you can see God work in amazing ways in your life. The other aspect is this: maybe you have just been too in charge of your own life. Maybe you have not had room to give God glory for what he's done. And so because it's so important that we have these moments and we have these things, I would encourage you to make room. Dig through the vault. Where has God shown up in your life in an amazing way? Because I know he has, and I know he will continue to. And so that's it for this week, Strength Through Weakness. Tune back in next week for part 2 of this message. And you guys just like, share, subscribe, whatever you can do to help grow the channel. Tell your friends about it if it's important to you. And I hope it is. Thanks.